Okay, so we'll start with the session. Okay, I guess I need to just reset the permission. Okay, is my screen visible? I hope the screen is visible to everyone, right? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so what are the topics we had covered in the last session? Anyone? What are the topics we covered? If I remember, so I had taught you about the theory sessions, right? So I had taught you about VPC, then about IAM roles, then I guess RDS we had discussed, then Lambda, CDN, CloudFront, then SQS, then ELB and auto scaling. Then also we discussed about the like CloudWatch, Route 53. Then we also API gateway. Then we have cloud formation, also DynamoDB. Okay, so we'll be discussing all of these topics today. So for VPC, let's open the. I guess VPC and IAM I had already shown you because there is nothing to create that gets created by default in your AWS account. I guess there is nothing to show about this, but still. Okay, so this is the VPC console. So you will find that once you are logged into the console, a default VPC is already created for you. Okay, and once you open this VPC, you will find all the VPC details. Right, you'll find all the VPC details like VPC ID, if it's currently in what state, then is it public or private access, then DNS host name, resolution. Then in the resource map, you will be seeing how the resource has been attached to the VPC. So you have this VPC and you have different subnets. So I have, this is in the US East 2. If you see in the region, I'm currently in the US East 2. So I have in three subnets in the three different zones. Then we have the route tables, then on the network connections. If I just expand this, you can see all of those expanded information. Then the block which is assigned to my VPC. This is the CIDR block we have, and this is associated with the VPC. Then, if you want to have any integration over the CloudWatch, you can add those resources to monitor. Then in the subnets, you can already see which is attached to the VPC according to whatever they have the inbound rules set for this and what are the deny rules. Okay. So network ACL is for the rules you can configure according to your needs. Then you have the route tables. root tables also have the same all the roots, what is associated and which is local and which is for the public. Then we have subnet associations for this. If you have any add the location, you want to add those. Okay. So this is basically your VPC guide. There's nothing too much think of here. You would be generally using moreover the EC2 instances, S3 and other services like that. VPC is generally handled by default in your account. Okay. I have already discussed, but I'll just give you a recap on this. So this is an IAM console where you have all these roles, then all of the policies inside AWS. So each service like EC2 will have separate policy. Then inside EC2 also there will be different type of access. Either you will have full access of EC2, then you will have only read access, creation access. So you have a different access. If I just filter it out with EC2. EC for the EC2 is specifically we have a number of policies here. So if you give EC2 full access, then they will the particular user will have complete access to the EC2. If you want any subjective access, you can check that as well. You see, we have numerous EC2 access. And if you do not understand what actually it is, then you can also see the description for this. So you will be understand much better. Okay. So this is how you can create IAM user in here. So you can create user by providing a name. Then if it's a console access or it's been using for API keys or something, you can take up that. So if you want to provide console access, then you can click on this. Then either you want to set the password or you want to use auto generate password, you can do that. And also this is recommended that whenever the user signs into the console, so they must change their password. So this is just for testing purpose, so I'll just turn it off and click on next. Attach policies directory. So I'll just provide access to S3 full access for now. Okay, and click on next, create user. So now I've been created. Now what I can do, I can just open a new and I can copy the username and password here. So this is the password and user. So once I log in, basically what will happen in that case, I'll be able to view only the S3 because I have the S3 access and that too in whichever region. So currently I'm in the EU North. I'll have to switch to US East 2 because all of my S3 is there. Okay. So in S3 now I'm able to view all these general purpose buckets whichever has been created, and then in this bucket as well we had already seen earlier that how to upload the files via a backend, and also about we saw how we can restrict the public access of the S3 and use it via pre-signed URL. Okay, so we've already seen those things, and like this is the file, this is the object URL, but this is not publicly accessible. So this is the access that you will get an error for this. But then you can generate a pre-signed URL and at the expiry, I'll keep it for 5 minutes and then copy pre-signed URL and it'll work. So this is how IAM rules work and about the S3 as well. So this is the two recaps we did now about the how IAM rule works and how uh, this filtration works, permissions level. Okay, so I just close this. So this is the IAM rules. Okay. So permissions come from like policies, not from the user directly. In the IAM, default is basically deny. If you don't attach a policy, it means the services won't be able to access, and only the attached policy is what grants the read-only access or write access, whatever the policies you are installing, right? So that are the most of the things. Then VPC also I have already discussed how to build in the public and private subnets. And then we have RDS. So once you search for the RDS, you will get Aurora and RDS. Basically, Aurora is in a managed databases from the AWS itself. So that's included in the RDS. So you have this databases pages here. Then you can click on create database. You can also have this express configuration, what you want, or you can edit those, or you can create it from full configuration. So suppose that I need a Postgres database. Okay, then easy create. I can take it for free tier, which is 0. In my case, I will be charged. For you, it may be free tier. Oh, how much it's charged? Okay, so it's charged around $15. So this gets you around $15 per month. Okay. And then how you want to use the credential? Either you want to use secret manager or you want to self-manage. You have both options. So in the Postgres, generally we use self-manage in this case. So we have this identifier. I can do this. Add a master username for yourself. Then how you want to create the password for you. So either you can use secret manager or you can use self-managed. In this case, I'll need the password for my need. Okay. Then these are the default settings you have. Then click on create database. It will take some time and it will spin up a Postgres database for me. And for this, the charge is around $15 monthly, which has a configuration of 2 vCPU and 1 GB RAM. So the instance has been created of the database, but it is still in the creation process. It takes around 4 to 5 minutes to get this created. Okay. Now, how you need to connect to your database? So you have different option. Either you have an endpoints or you want to cloud shell or the code snippet, whatever you want. So uh, we have an option how you want to have the endpoint. So it will be available once the database gets created. Okay. If you want to use through Lambda connection or you want to use through the EC2, you have the both of the options here. You can connect those things. Then about the replication, these are the security group. Then you have if you need any IAM rules to connect with your database, you can do that as well. In this monitoring, you can see what are the compute going on in the current queries. Then in the log and events, all of the logs will be there. In configuration, you can find whatever the database configuration is there. So this is the instance ID which we named there. Then instance class, which is T4 micro, and we have configuration of 2 vCPU and 1 GB RAM. This is usually enough if you have a like a production database as well, and that too is handling around 1,000 users. That usually works. So even my currently personal project, I have around 2,000 active users that gets worked with the 2 vCPU and 1 GB RAM. So you can use this for starting out any personal project if you want. Then you have the general storage. It is already attached by default. Is the username will be Postgres and master password once it is available. Okay. So these are the configuration. Then if you want to have any backups or maintenance window, you can find it here. For backups, we also get point in time recovery. So suppose that any situation happens where you delete something, then you can use the backups to restore, and you also get the point in time recovery. So the best feature in the managed Postgres is in managed databases, usually you get PITR, which is called point in time recovery. So the benefit is basically suppose that you have a DB, maybe there is any critical bug or error or any someone gets deleted some rows. Basically, the usually this happens that you write some SQL code and you need to delete a for row. But usually what happens, you forgot to add where condition correctly. So in that case, sometimes complete table gets deleted, or in that case, one thing to point, usually delete can be done, but to be safe on the production side, what engineers do, they do not delete the row. Instead, they added deleted add column in the table, and they store the timestamp when it was deleted. So what happens in this case? You actually don't delete the column. So if you able to roll back something, you would be able to easily do that. Or maybe like you can delete from that table and save it to any different table. So that's how you can keep a fail-safe system. But in any case, if something gets deleted in your databases and you need to recover that, so you have this PITR. Now, what will happen? You can select an exact time. So, suppose this issue happened today itself, in that was 7:58, right? So, suppose this error happened in 7:58. What you can do is in PITR, you can extract from the 7:57, or like I will tell 7:58. So, at this time, whatever data was there, up to that, I can recover. So, this is called the point in time recovery. Okay. So, by the time you have this error, you can just go back to a previous time, and by that time, whatever data was there for your database, that will be recovered. So, this is the best feature of the managed databases providers like AWS, DigitalOcean, or Neon. So, they give you the PITR option, point in time recovery. Then, if you want to have any migrations, you can do that as well. Usually, you can do by your own. So this is how you have the connections option. Either you want to connect through the AWS console, or maybe if you want, you can directly open this through PG SDK. It is actually possible nowadays. Okay. So either you can do RDX proxy if you want to create, or you have both options. Then you have the endpoint port. This is the endpoint URL basically where your post is there. This is the port. And you have already know the what are the VPC and subnets to be configured to any of the resources. Okay. So if I can connect and show you, I can just copy and try it out. So this is an RDS host. Okay, so I haven't generated the PM file yet, so that's why it's not there. Okay, no worries. So in these actions, you have either you want to stop temporarily, you want to reboot, or you want to delete this database, or you want to create a read replica, or you want even multi ability zone deployment. This is the PITR option if whenever you need this. So basically, whatever the latest restore time, or you want to have the custom date and time from when you want to restore. Right. So you have all of these options in the managed databases. But make sure that this is chargeable. But in the free tier, you can get it because you will be having this normal account, right? So once you log in, just make sure you have a free tier enabled, and then only you use this. So this is the RDS. Uh, then we have Lambda. Let me just delete this. See if I forgot, I'll be charged for this. Please confirm this time delete. Okay. So now it will get deleted. Now let's open Lambda. Okay. So in Lambda you have a function. So basically you write in the export handler you have a single function. By the name itself, it's a Lambda function. So you have one function. You can create REST APIs as well here within that function. So for now, what I can do. So this suppose that this is a function and I click on run, so it will print hello from Lambda. Okay. So if I just click on this scale create function, okay. So choose this option from Lambda from scratch. Then you have a runtime, which is like Node or Python, whatever you want. Then you have this option settings, whatever you want to customize according to your. Then click on create function. Also, I see there is an option about the function URL. If I'm not sure how that works, because seems to be there is a different thing. Okay. So you get a complete code editor as well inside this. If you want, you can directly open in the Visual Studio Code, and it will open the complete code editor inside here. Okay, install extension. So this is my code base. Let me open a new window. Okay, and now if I try to open in Visual Studio Code, taking some time. Maybe this need to be downloaded, but you get both options basically here. Let me just install. Okay, So basically, you have a complete code editor. You can directly have all those files created within here. You can deploy and test according to your Git. You can connect all those things. Okay. I guess it's signing in. This solution has been completed. Just let it be. Okay. So now you have two things. This function is created. Now, how you want to trigger this function and what actually you want to do with this. So either if it's a REST API, so you can have two options here. Either you can have this trigger point via S3 or something. It depends on the use case. So suppose we have this lambda function. Here, if you have the REST API, in that case, the entry trigger will be from API gateway. And if something, this is kind of worker processor, so in that case, this may be either from the trigger point of S3 or maybe a different service, right? So you have two options, and then the destinations also what you want to have. I guess we can create the function URL directly, and in additional settings, allow all to access, allow all methods, click on save. So I have this URL, and based on that, I can execute. So this is the function URL, and based on this, I can execute. So you see, this is the URL, and when I open this, the console is appearing. I open the Lambda. Okay. So that's how it works. Now, in this function, you can do whatever accordingly what you want, right? So either you can create REST APIs here, either you want, you can create some kind of node processing, image processing, or audio processing, whatever you want. But the limit is this execution cannot cross 15 minutes. So if something is beyond 15 minutes, it will just get timeout. Under that, you can simply do all of those whatever you want. Either you want image processing. Suppose that you uploaded an S3 image in S3, which is like 10 MB. So you don't want to store up the 10 MB file. So in that case, what you can do, you can do processing according to your own, and you can compress down, and you can store a small amount of that. Maybe the compressed image will be around 5 MB. So you save a 5 MB, right? So you can do all those execution in the Lambda. So you have all these options here. You can see all the runtime configurations, layers, whatever you have. Then you can add a trigger point if you need, maybe like you have an API gateway. And right now we directly get the option of the about the function URL. So nowadays API gateway is not required to have a trigger, but earlier last year when I taught students about this, so we had to use API gateway to have a trigger point for the REST API. But now it is directly available through the function URL. Okay. Then you can have a trigger point if you want to have an image compression or something built. So for the trigger, you can have this S3, then the bucket. What are the event types basically? So all object create event. So whenever an object gets created there, then what are the email prefix you want to have to get it checked. So maybe only the folder in the temp I want to process. So you can have this prefix there. Okay. Then also I told you about the recursive loop, right? It can go again and again. So if your function writes object to an S3 bucket, and so they are using different S3 buckets for input and output, writing to the same bucket increases the risk of recursive function. I had already told you about this, right? So in that case, what you can do, you can create some different prefix in that case, so you have different directories that to work on, or it's even better to just use different buckets. Okay. You can have a complete different temporary bucket, and then you have this production bucket for that if you want. But if you want to work with this single bucket, in that case, you can do with the prefix. So once you click on this add, so now every time in the S3 bucket, anything works in there, object is created, this function will be triggered automatically. So this is called the trigger event, and then what you want to have the destination or something in that case, you can do that as well. Okay, after that, what happens or not, you can do the destination part. So this is how usually this lambda function works. I'll just remove these triggers. I guess the trigger has been created instantly. That's why it's not deleting. Okay. I'll just get that deleted later on. Okay. So is it clear about the Lambda and IAM and VPC? Is it clear up to this? Everyone? IAM, VPC, Lambda, S3, is it clear? So to have an explanation on this, uh, in Lambda, what happens? There is no server was provisioned or like kept running whenever I just execute. So in that case, when I execute this request, only the compute time for this is get charged. Other than that, I am not charged. So suppose that in entire month only one request is there, so I will be charged for that one request, not for the complete 750 hours, right? So that is the best case example for the Lambda and the EC2. The function executed on demand and stopped so that you are built only for those milliseconds. Uh, okay. One of those things to mention in the free tier, you get almost, I guess, 1 million API calls. So up to 1 million executions, you can have this in the free tier. And if you need an alternative to this, so in Google Cloud, you have Cloud Run. So I guess now this when there is about triggers and all those things, of course it would be much better for you to work with a Lambda. But if you are deploying some kind of heavy notice application or Python something, you want execution because in Cloud Run, Google Cloud Run, you get execution of up to 1 hour. So that's a beneficial part in Cloud Run. And also you get 2 million requests up to in the free tier. So if you need something there, also about the Docker deployment, you get all those options there. That is kind of an extensive solution beyond Lambda. So if you're looking for something like those, you can use Cloud Run in the Google Cloud. Okay. So I'll just deleted this function for now. Then we have CloudFront. Okay. So I guess already I have created one, but this is how you can create a CDN. So you have to choose a plan according to what you want to have. So in free, you get up to 1 million requests, 100 gigabytes per month. So this is on the free plan. Then if you have more requests according to your need, you can go with different plans. Also, you have pay as you go. So whatever you use, based on that, it will be requested. So I'll choose the free option for now. You also choose the free option because you would barely cross the 1 million requests. Then click on next. Then again, create a distribution name. Then if you want to use your own domain, you can do that, but that needs to be configured with the Route 53. So you need to check that. Then what are the origin you want for the distribution? Either it's S3 or load balance or an API gateway. So how you want to use that? You can check from here. So I'll create an S3 location. Okay, S3 bucket. Click on choose. Then this is the origin path of what you want to have. Then allow a private S3 bucket access to the cloud front. So although your S3 is now private, but the cloud front when you add that would be public now. So based on that only you have to understand how you want to access that. If you still do not want to have in public access, in that case, just cloud front would be not recommended to use. If you are adding CloudFront mm, in front of your S3, it means you're having an public access to your S3 object. Okay. So for now, I'll just use all the recommended settings. Okay. Then also you get an DDoS option. So in the business plan, you can get a protection against DDoS attacks as well. Now you can just review all those things, the name, what are the plans, then the origin and the connections, timeout, everything, all those cache settings if you want. So suppose that if you want the caching to be customizable, like what you want to have the timeline, TTL, so you can do that as well. So cache policy, all of those you can customize. Click on create distribution. Okay. So now you have this distribution enabled for your S3. If you want, you can also create an domain. So if I want, I may have, let's see, again, test.origin.com. So maybe like I can add the domain to this, and then based on that, you can add your DNS records in the Route 53. If your domain is in the Route 53, you can simply just connect all those and they will add all this DNS record. So you can also use your own domain here if you need. Okay. Now you can also check the metrics, how much objects you are accessing, because in the free plan you get around 1 million requests per month, right? And 100 gigabytes of the data transfer. So if you have a 1 GB of file, and then in that case only 100 times you can download that file. So bandwidth also matters, not just request. Why either your million requests will be counted first, or what the bandwidth count. So any one of those which crosses the limit, then this plan will be excluded. Beyond that, it won't be able to access. Okay. So this is the request. This is the data transfer, and that which I explained. So you get 1 million requests and around 100 gigabytes of data transfer in free plan. Data transfer. So maybe if you have like 1 gigabyte of file, single file basically, in that case, what will happen? is you can download only 100 times. So 100 requests will utilize your complete bandwidth in that case, right? So still you have a lot of requests left, but it won't matter because the transfer has been limit reached. So either one of those limits is reached, CloudFront won't be able to work. So this is how the options. You have any edge errors, or you can check all those things. So you have the distributions, and you can have the domain. So this is the free plan. So on the, of course, there is nothing to be showed for now, right? Okay. So cloud, we already seen the CDN how to work with, and then we have SQS. I'll just delete both of the CDNs. Okay. Now we have SQS. Now in the SQS, you can create queue, and how that does work. You have what type of you want. That is standard, and then we have FIFO. So basically, in the standard, you have at least once delivery, best effort ordering. So it will order according to itself. Basically, it's the first in, first out only, but they give you the priority options as well. So at least one delivery it will concern. And the FIFO, what happens? First in, first delivery. So basically, if you want to have retry option, in that case, standard shall work. If you want that only once it shall process, either it fail or success doesn't matter. In that case, you can choose for FIFO. In this, what happens? First in, first out delivery, message ordering is preserved. So what happens in both cases? You have FIFO. In that case, the job is added, executed. Doesn't matter it fails. Doesn't matter if fails or success. So it will just execute once. But in standard, you get option for retry. If you want to have like job added, and it fails, if it fails, you want to retry job after 2 minutes, max 5 retries. So if you want to have this configuration, in that case, you need to go with the standard. Okay, that's the main difference. So choose for the standard, then you can have all those configuration. What are the timeout if you want? So maybe like in this job, if you want to have a retention visibility, basically up to what time you want. So you can configure all those. It is between max to max 12 hours. So you can keep a job in the processing for up to like 12 hours. So beyond that, it will just auto remove. So this is the time to live basically. Then you have the message retention period, how much you can, how you want to retain, then a delivery delay, basically retry a time, what you want to have. Then the same encryption, what you want to server-side encryption, we generally keep. Then the encryption could have SQS key. Okay. Then what are the queue honors? You can define all those retry allow policy and the dead letter queue. You can have all those configurations. Let me just this created. Okay. So now you have this policy set, and then you can have also the monitoring around this. That what are the age of the oldest message, number of messages delayed, all of those things you can track here. Then this is the SNS subscription topic you want. You can also choose from where this shall come. all of these things you can do. Based on that, now you can also create the lambda function trigger. We had created the lambda function, but that deleted. Okay, so you can choose a trigger point from here as well, right? So this is how you can maintain a queue. I'll just give you an example on this. So suppose that you have this queue created, and then from the back end, maybe you want to add something to the body. Maybe suppose that you want to process video ID. So this is some kind of video ID. Okay, and you add this to the job in the SQS and SNS, and then you can create some lambda function to process that, right? Maybe you have a lambda function to process the video. So you can have this body added to a job in SQS. Then you can have a trigger point to the lambda about the processing. Then once the lambda has the data, and based on that, you can do maybe process the video, mention process the video and upload in S3. So this is how it can do, and then mark it as done. So once this function does the processing of the video, and then in that case, it will mark the in this SNSS to be done. Okay, that's how it works. Same way you have the SNS options here itself. You have this option about the SNS you want to click on have the subscription topics. So you can use the same. Then we have elastic load balancer. I'll delete this as well. Then we have ELB, elastic load balancing, load balancer in the EC2 instance. Okay, so if you see, I have multiple instances, right? Based on the different use cases, I've created multiple instances. Uh, so now in the load balancer, I can click on create load balancer, and then what you want to have different types of load balancers there. Either you want to create like application level load balancer, or the network level load balancers, or the gateway. So you have different use cases also. So if you have this lambda, in that case you can in that case you can choose for the application. If you have a network level, then if you're working with the EC2 instances, in that case you can choose for the network load balancers. You can click on and create that. Then either it's internal or in public facing, you can choose for that. You can click on add the name. The load balance IP is what you want. Either it's IP4 or the IPv6 if you want. You can choose for that as well. Then in the default VPC, it will be auto selected. What are the ability zone you want? So you can choose for that. Then all the security groups of what are the policies you want to have, inbound rules and outbound rules. So you can choose for that. Then you also get the global acceleration. Basically, it will run in the edge. So it also benefits to the speed. So you can opt for this. I guess it's also charged separately. Yes, additional charges apply in that case. So you'll be charged for that accordingly how you use that. But of course, it benefits you that much that if it gets charged also, it anyways benefits you only. So response time will be faster. It will be able to detect everything on the edge. So these are the all the options, and then you will be also available to map all the servers, right? So in that case, load balancer would work. I'll just give an explanation on this rather than the demo. So basically, what happens in this case, you can in the application load balancer, once you create the load balancer, Then you also have the auto scaling group. Once you create the load balancer, then you in the scaling group, you can add like group size. Maybe minimum shall be one instance, and the maximum you want up to six instances. So if there is enough load, it can go up to maximum six instances. It will be created, and if there is nothing load, in that case, it will keep up to at least one server. So that's how it done. And also, you can have the tracking policy, maybe that when to trigger about the creation of the new instance. In that case, so if your CPU or memory hits 70% or maybe like 60%, then you can create new instance. So you can create all those policies here. Okay. To have an explanation on this, the load balancer basically spreads the traffic for the high availability. Auto scaling matches the capacity to demand for the elasticity. Together, they are the backbone on the cloud applications. Basically, load balancer handles all those about the traffic distribution between servers, and auto scaling creates and deletes the instances. Okay, so that's it around the practical session. We have still the other things to see. I guess like DynamoDB. I can just explain the DynamoDB. It's the same process like we created for this RDS. Okay, so in the DynamoDB, you can create like tables, and then you can provide all this database. You can create table, and then you have all these objects. You can have the backups for this. Then, if you have an integration regarding the CloudWatch or something, you can do that as well. Then settings, you have configuration about the comfortable, compact. If you have multiple items, in that case, you can choose for the this compact option. Then, if you want the default entry page to tables, you can set that all of those. There's nothing much into this for the explanation. It's simply just create the table and work around the data. If you want to create some clusters, you can create the cluster as well. So DynamoDB is just a NoSQL database, so nothing to know about that. If you have any questions, you can ask, because the few services left will be seeing, I guess, in the today is the last day, right? We'll be seeing in the today session in the evening. We have all of the left services. If you have any questions, you can ask. If you have any questions, I'll just give you a recap around everything, whatever we have seen so far in the today's session. I'll just give you a recap. So first of all, there was IAM rule, right? So in IAM, basically we can define all those policies to a specific user, or you can create an like a department as well, a group, and then you can add the user directly to the department. So in the console, we can simply just go to the IAM, and then in the users page, we can create a user, then attach the policies, maybe like Amazon S3 read-only access or S3 full access. You can attach the policies to that user and click on create user. Just make sure to tick either it's an like CLI access or backend access. In that case, do not tick for the console one, so that you will be able to create access keys for that particular user and secret key. And if you need to provide them the console access, then in the starting only you have this console access option. So you need to tick that. Okay, and that's how the IAM user gets created. The concept is around permission comes from the policies. So you need to define whatever the policies you attach, right? And it's not attached to the directly. Default would be deny. So if you not attach policy, it means for that particular service, the action will be completely denied. Okay. Then we had the VPC. It generally auto creates the subnets and everything by default. Once you have the AWS console setup, a VPC would be directly assigned to your account. So there's nothing to create around that. But if you want to explore, you can do that as well. Okay. Then you have RDS. It's basically to launch an database service. It's a complete managed databases from the AWS itself. You have the both option. You can create either easy create, or you have full configuration option to create a database based on whatever configurations you want. You can do that. And the concept is you do not need to write any installation or patching commands. AWS manages the engine, the same SQL skills. You can simply just work on the backend part. There's nothing to do in the configuration level. Everything is handled on the AWS side. Then in the Lambda, you write and run a serverless function. Basically, you can open the Lambda service and then click on create function. Then you can choose from author from scratch, name it the function, then choose the runtime. Either you want to go with Ruby on Rails, Python, Node.js, .NET, whatever you want. Then click on create function. You will get a complete VS Code editor within there, or you can open in your own VS Code also once you sign in. Okay. Then you can also have a trigger point, how it shall be triggered. Nowadays, we have this function URL, so directly you can access from the HTTPS now. Earlier, that wasn't the option. Earlier in the last year when I taught, I guess I had to add a trigger point from the API gateway. So nowadays we have the function URL. If you're making some kind of REST API, now it is very easy to create on the Lambda. Okay. So if you also wanted to create some kind of processing, image processing or video processing, in that case you can have a trigger from the S3 as well. So all of those things can be done. Also, in the Lambda, no server is provisioned or kept running, and the function executes on demand and gets stopped once the execution is done. So you are only built for those seconds what you have used. Then the CloudFront, you need to have an S3 bucket or any ELB or something where your application is deployed, and then you can have this CloudFront in front of that. So open the CloudFront console, and click on create distribution, set the origin to the S3 bucket. Then you should have the HTTP and HTTP direct and the viewer protocol policy. Then you can have the caching customized if you want, and then you can click on create. So also for this, your bucket need to be in the public, not the private bucket won't work. So the concept around is this: the origin as contacted once per edge location. Every later visitor in that region is served as a cached copy. That's it, right? So only the first time it reaches the origin server to get that, and once it fetches, it is stored in the nearest region. So the next time any visitor is there, so it will be accessed on the from the cache location, not from the origin. Then in the SQS, we saw about creating an SQS topic. You have two options, either a standard or the FIFO. Then you can send or receive messages from the queue, and then you can have the either Lambda or is whatever the configurations you want. You can set up work around that. So that's the SQS and SNS. Then you have the load balancer and auto scaling. You can create a load balancer, and then you can choose between either it's application level or the network level or the gateway level. You can have all those, or even if you have this classic load balancer option as well now. Then you can choose what are the scaling groups, how you want to do that. Maybe like minimum you want either one server or two server. The maximum instance you can write either you need 10 or 5. You can decide group size. You can do that. And then also you can have a tracking policy that when it will create or delete servers. So maybe for the creation you can have like once you have this CPU usage of 70% means now it's users are there actively using. In that case, you can start creating new groups. So the concept around is the load balancer spread traffic for availability. Auto scaling matches capacity to demand for elasticity, and therefore it's the backbone around the cloud applications. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, you can ask. Today would be the last session. Yes, that's the 12th session in the evening, right? So that would be the last. I'll cover all the leftover topics, and that would be it. If you have any questions, you can ask. No question, then that's it for today. Not for today. We have one more session in the evening. Okay. Thank you, everyone.